Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we got something pretty awesome. We're going back to the Masuter Pro. We're gonna go ahead and dismantle this thing because we're gonna upgrade it. We're gonna put on the new Nema23 open loop stepper motors that FoxAlien now has to offer for this machine. We're gonna go ahead and give it a try. I talked directly with FoxAlien and they said that this kit isn't really for the faint of heart, that it's kind of difficult to install. So I have the boxes right here. It comes in 2 boxes. This is the first box, which has all of the aluminum components to upgrade and supposedly make your Masuter Pro sturdier. This box came a couple days later. I was kind of nervous, but this one ended up coming up a couple days later. This is the motors. You're going to get 4 motors, your drag chain, which is long enough for not only the 4040 kit, but also the 8040 kit. So if you have the extension kit for the Masuter Pro, it's 4080. The drag chain will fit for you as well. And then it also comes with the brand new control box. On the Masuter Pro, there's one thing that I'm not a fan of is right here. The control box is mounted and it's really tiny and all that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and upgrade that as well. This thing has been parked under the CL 4x4 down here on the shelf that I built. It's been parked for some time. Because this thing is not as powerful as my other machines. You've seen so far the Masuter 3S 8040. I love it. It's basically now my permanent laser machine. I have the 80-watt laser hooked up to that and it is awesome. Coming over here, I have the Ext Pro, which I use for a ton of small projects that I do. It is just my workhorse that I use. It's got the 400-watt spindle and it's super quiet. And then I have the Beast over here, their flagship machine, which is the 4x4. I really haven't used it as much as I really wanted to lately, just because I really need to put on a spoil board. If my exposure is super crazy high, I'm gonna fix that, hold on, there we go. So this is the flagship machine, this is the 4x4, and it's honestly, I haven't used it as much as I would like to. I do have some really cool projects coming up that are quite large that will do this, but this whole video is about this machine right here. We're gonna upgrade this. I'm a little nervous for the sheer fact that you gotta get all the way around it, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back over here to the table saw. It should fit that perfectly. We're gonna go ahead and unbox this, check it out, see what's up on the inside of each one of these. We'll go ahead and unbox that. I'll move the Masuter Pro over to here and then we'll go ahead and start the process of getting that changed over from the Nema motors that are currently on it to the Nema23. They're about 5 times stronger, 5 times more torque than those do. So honestly, if you already have that machine and you want to upgrade it, this is the way to go, because otherwise you have to buy a whole new machine. With that being said, let's get over here. Let's go ahead and unbox these real quick and see what's up on these, and we'll go from there. All right, here we go. Just inside this, you get your pretty awesome stickers from FoxAlien. You have your instructions. You do get all your nuts and bolts. Now remember, everything is metric, so they're gonna give you all of the tools that you need to do this upgrade. So you don't have to have any tools, but I probably won't use these. What I'm going to use is this right here. This I got from Harbor Freight Tools. They're super easy to use. This is the T-handled hex key set. This is the metric. It's just a lot easier to use these. And then inside we have all of the brackets. Let's go ahead and open this up. A stepper motor kit user manual. Here they are right here. This is the first stepper motor. What a huge difference that this is going to be against those little tiny Nema 17s. There's number 2. Next thing we're going to pull out is the control box. This is by far the largest control box that FoxAlien has to offer. This thing is big. A matter of fact, even a larger controller box than the CL 4x4. This must be a new design. Motor number 3, motor number 4, and then finally, you have your new drag train. And then last, another PC computer, and this will be for that. All right guys, now that we went ahead and got everything laid out, what I'm gonna do is kind of kick this off to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and move the Masuter Pro to my table saw. That way I can get all the way around it. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to review the instructions first. When we come back, we're gonna get on it. All right, guys, now that we went ahead and I got the Masuter Pro over here on top of the table saw, we're gonna go ahead and start the disassembly part. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be too crazy. It's just gonna be time consuming. So I don't even know if I'm gonna finish this up today. This is probably gonna take a 2-day process for me because it is already 7 o'clock at night. So I'm probably gonna start it today and then wrap it up tomorrow when I get home from work. But there are some things that you wanna do. You wanna make sure that you keep some stuff. We're gonna go ahead and we have to disassemble. Basically, this whole thing comes apart except for the base. Another thing cool that I've noticed too as well is we're going to be getting some Z height. I believe this is going to raise up the Z height, which is a pretty awesome thing because I always found that the Masuter Pro, you only get a few inches of height right here in between your workpiece and your spindle. You don't get a lot of height. So they added these right here to the kit, and check this out. You could see alone that we're gonna get almost an inch extra of height. So it's gonna jump from like 2 inches to almost 3 inches of Z height added to this, which is pretty awesome. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get this thing disassembled, and we'll go ahead and start the reassembly of the new motor mounts right here. So, all right, let's get to it. Here we go. And just like that, the drag train is disassembled. It took about 5 minutes to do. So let's go ahead and move off these rails and get the rest of this taken apart. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, now that I went ahead and got everything disassembled for this, we're gonna start working on the X and the Y rails to get those disassembled next. I think what we're gonna do is concentrate on the X axis first. We'll get that one disassembled, then reassembled with the motors, and then we'll go ahead and get this one assembled pretty much right off the bat. We'll go ahead and do the left and then the right Y-axis rails. What I did notice is, you remember at the very beginning I showed you that there was 2 pamphlets? This one right here, I noticed, this is if you have the Masuter 3. You can upgrade your Masuter 3. You would need to do the Masuter 3S because it actually comes with even better motors than this kit right here. That's what this one is for right here. So we don't even need this book, this Nema23 user manual, which comes with the actual machine itself and the controller and the motors. What you will need if you have the Masuter Pro is the pamphlet booklet that looks like this one right here, and it actually says right on here, Masuter Pro. Don't know if I'm going to be doing an upgrade to that one. Not sure if I really need to do that. We'll cross that bridge at a later date. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move the Y rails out of my way, and let's go ahead and disassemble the X axis right now. Here we go. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause right here, and we're actually gonna go a little bit off the beaten path from the instructions because what I don't like is the next step is for me to disassemble the Y-axis rails. I'm not a real fan of kind of jumping all over the place, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip the Y-axis rails right now, and we're gonna go straight to the reassembly of the X-axis, kind of since I have it in my brain. And honestly, we're gonna probably just reuse the most of the parts that we already have taken off. I'm not going to go through the box and put all new screws. You can go ahead and do that. It has all new screws right here that you can use if you feel comfortable. But honestly, what I'm going to do as I take something apart, I'm just going to put it right back together. I think that's going to be the easiest process for you. If you go ahead and start disassembling and have all of these loose parts all over the place, you might get a little bit confused, and I think that's a problem. So what we're gonna do now is we have the new plate right here. The new plate goes on. We can basically just reuse all the screws that we took off, and I think that's gonna be a much easier process. So why don't we go ahead and get the X-axis put together with the new motors on it, and once that's done, then we can jump to each rail and go from there. All right, guys, just a note to self that just so you know that the wheel bearing or the wheel guide, the gear, so the stepper gear was actually on backwards. I don't know why. The other motors come like this and they're ready to go, but for some reason they put this one on backwards. So just be aware of that. That might be something that happens in the future for you. Not sure if it was just a mistake in the factory, not a big deal. Just flip this around and then that way it sticks out far enough, because if you don't, it's gonna basically be too far this direction. All right, guys, so it actually comes with a set of spare belts. That way you can go ahead and change, and I highly recommend you do so because you've probably had your Masuter Pro for at least a year or so, and I actually bought these on Amazon. This is a spare belt set that you can get for really, really inexpensive. I'll put a link in the description down below for this. These are wire reinforced, so let's go ahead and change out the belts right now because they are a little worn and stretched out, so it's a perfect time to do it. You might as well since you're reinstalling everything. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace everything with the white belt that I have. It's a really good belt, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and use the new white belt. All right, sometimes getting these belts changed is a real pain in the butt to get it to kind of curve back. So sometimes if you use an Allen wrench and kind of get it in there, you can somewhat get it and force it up back over these wheels. But sometimes it is a real pain in the tail. Now what I'm going to do is tilt this and, whoop, this is really heavy. Let me tilt this and see if the axis slowly rolls, which it does. Perfect. And we should be good to go. And again, if you need to adjust this, the very easy thing to do is you just loosen this bolt right here, and then you can loosen this just a little bit. You want to do like 1/8 of a turn at a time on each side to balance it out. That way it doesn't stretch out too much, but I think my tension is pretty good right now, so we should be good. Let's go ahead and move on to the Y-axis, and after that, we're going to be reassembling. All right, guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the Y-axis rails, and basically we're just going to do a full disassemble on this. We're just going to take everything down because I need the wheels. We need these right here, the limit switches. One of these comes off. We're going to change the belts. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to basically just total disassemble and then rebuild with all of the new parts that they have supplied. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take this thing apart. All right, guys, now that I went ahead and got everything apart, got my wheels all off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and build the Y-axis now. We're gonna go ahead and do part 1. This is what they call Y1, We're going to go ahead and build the new roller wheels setup with the new motor, get it all on, put the belt on, and we'll be ready to go with Y1, and then we'll go ahead and do Y2. Easiest thing to do is just disassemble, then reassemble. All right, let's go ahead and get the new one put together. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do with this, we are gonna use brand new parts. The only thing that we're gonna reuse, the wheels right here, they are a little dusty, so I went ahead and got a brush, and we're just gonna clean those up a little bit. No reason to leave them dirty. All right, let's go ahead and get these assembled. All right, guys, now we're ready to disassemble the Y2 axis, and this one actually should be a lot easier for the sheer fact that when this one doesn't have any limit switches or anything like that, we're basically just gonna redo the other thing, and it's gonna flip around to this side. So yeah, it should be pretty easy. So same concept, let's go ahead and disassemble and reassemble. All right, guys, I went ahead and I got Y1 and Y2 all completed up. And down here, we got the X and Z axis all completed up. So now what I'm gonna do is get these two merged together, get it back on the spoil board, and we should be good, but we're gonna save that for tomorrow. When we come back tomorrow, it's already like 10 o'clock at night. So we're gonna phase over till tomorrow, and I will get this done and hook up all the electronics, and we should be good to go. So I guess I'll see you in a minute, but for me, it'll be tomorrow. All right, guys, so it is the next day, and we are almost done with this project. I stopped last night, and after I turned off the camera, I did do two things, which you can notice right here. It's a little bit different. I brought it up from the floor, and I put it back on my workbench, and then I went ahead and put the Y rails next to it, but they kept falling, so I did actually start right here. You could see I started putting one of the bolts in here. This is the, I think, the M515s. What are those? M520s. These are the M520s that go in here. So basically what I did is I just put one on each corner just to keep it from falling over. And the other thing that I did was I took off that gray wasteboard that was on it before, so you can actually see the T-track rails. So with that being said, we are ready to go ahead and finish this install. We're just going to go ahead and put these other M520s in, and then the same thing, couple M520s on the X-axis, and we should be good to go. On the parts list, if you did see this motor does not come as the upgrade. This is actually the spindle that came with the Masuter the Masuter 3S. And now that is my dedicated laser machine, so I actually had this spindle left over. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this 400 watt motor onto the Pro. So this does not come with that. So it's ready to go for me, but this will not be part of the upgrade. So if you saw this on my like kind of pans and stuff like that, this does not come with that. But we're gonna go ahead and put it on this because this is going to be a really awesome machine with this on there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're gonna go ahead and connect all of the electronics, and we should be ready to rock and roll with this. All right, let's get it done. All right, guys, so I got everything wired up. I'm good to go with the Masuter Pro. I haven't hooked up the controller box yet or anything power because I came across a little issue that I'm gonna have connecting this motor. So this wiring loom does not have the same kind of connector that the Masuter 3S, the 400 watt spindle came with. It has this little funky green end, and when I purchased my relay, it had a bunch of different adapters. So here is an adapter right here, which plugs perfectly into this adapter onto the spindle. So I'm going to try something and do something a little bit different. It's not really going to ruin anything, unfortunately, because I can always re-add new connectors, but I think this is going to work. What I'm going to do is take this one off. It just has these little screws that you just back out a little bit like this, and this comes out. Now, I know that the blue is in blue, which we're just going to go ahead and match that up. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut these wires and then just put them in there and then tighten them up. And that should give me the good connection that I need. And hopefully everything should work perfectly. So let's go ahead and give this a whirl. I don't know how this is going to work. So I'm going to have to cut these off all the way. Strip off a little bit of wire, and then now, hopefully, we should have a connection and we should be good to go. What I'll do is, I'll get a little zip tie and zip tie all this together. I think we're gonna go ahead and hook up the controller and then power this thing on and see how we do. Let's go ahead and get it started. All right, guys, so we have everything plugged in. It's ready to go. Let's go ahead and turn the power on and see what happens to the machine. All right, so we power up, and I think we're in good shape. Let's go ahead and see if we got the light. All right, the light works. Working light is in good shape. I think what we're going to do is let's go ahead and hit home, and then I'm going to run over there and we'll see how this homes. I don't have a computer hooked up yet. We just want to see if this thing will actually home and do its thing. So let's go ahead and hit home, and then all right, so far so good. It's going in the right direction. And check that out. Homes in the right direction, which is A+. So we are good to go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook up the computer, hook up easel. We're gonna go ahead and strap down a piece of wood onto the spoil board. I'm not gonna do a huge, big project. We just wanna make sure that this thing is actually working in the right direction right now and kind of doing what it's supposed to do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just try out a project and go from there. All right, guys, I went ahead and I got everything hooked up. I got easel on my computer, on my laptop. I have everything pretty much good to go. Now, I'm going to give you some bad news that I have contacted FoxAlien about, that I'm not too sure how they're going to fix this, or if it is something that it was just an oversight or an overlook. But the Z probe on this machine uses this new type of connection. Let me turn around the camera and I'm going to show you. So the Z probe uses this new kind of connection right here, which is basically the big like round connector. And you can see right here it goes to the Z probe. The old Masuter Pro uses this kind of connection. It's this little tiny white one, which went into the box. Where to go? Right here. This was the Z probe connection on this computer module right here, and it doesn't match up with this one here. Luckily, I have the Masuter 3, and this one is what actually comes with the Masuter 3S machine, so I had an extra Z probe that works in this. So if you have the Masuter Pro, your Z probe might not work. I don't know if this is something that was just an oversight, or maybe I didn't get one of these, but long story short, this one will not connect into this probe connection right here. So we'll have to figure that one out. But with that being said, Lord. But with that being said, I have everything hooked up, so we're gonna do the first test cut. We're gonna go ahead, I have everything calibrated in with the Z probe, and everything is good to go. So we're gonna do this cool little funky design that I have right here from Easel Pro. I just imported this, and it's probably gonna take less than 30 minutes to do. I'm just doing 1 millimeter deep, 1200, let's see, what are my cut settings? Right here, we have a cut setting, a feed rate of 1200 millimeters a minute. We're gonna do a depth per pass is 1, and I want to do 1 millimeter depth total. So with that being said, it should just do 1 total pass. I want to make sure I try to pick a design here that has that kind of circular and, you know, whatnot, so that I'll know that when it cuts and it's doing all of these funky, you know, shapes like a kaleidoscope or something, it should hopefully work out pretty good. And the piece of wood that I did was actually a little bit smaller than where my clamps are, so I know I'm in a good spot where it's going to only do like right here on this piece of MDF. So 1 millimeter deep, this corner is not down completely, and I hope that's going to be okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to send it and go from there, because I really hate using these type of clamps, but I just want to get this done and test out this machine because I'm pretty excited that it is good to go. Again, it homed, everything's good. So let's just go ahead and hit send, and we're going to rock and roll and check this thing out. And you can really hear how quiet that spindle is. I'm right next to it, and it is a super quiet spindle. So that actually helps a lot when you're doing this in a workshop at night, but the cutting is what actually will get loud. So hopefully that this board doesn't move and shift around on me. I think I have everything nice and tight. Yeah, I'm about as tight as I can get it. All right, guys, if you have made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you so much for sticking around. I know this video is probably a lot longer than most of my other videos because this build is pretty intensive. Honestly, it takes a little while. This is not for somebody who had just purchased a machine or does not have any kind of mechanical capabilities, because you basically have to rebuild this whole machine. And if you buy this kit and purchase the machine all at one time, you're basically building this thing from scratch. You are starting over, you're taking things apart, you're putting it together, and it is definitely a challenge. It's not hard, but it's definitely not easy. I don't know how else to put it. I was able to do it while filming and recording, and it really didn't take me much time. I did it. If I wasn't recording, I could have had it done and going within, you know, a half a day or whatnot. It probably would have taken about maybe 3-4 hours or something along that lines. But it did take me a couple days with recording. But nonetheless, very easy. Hopefully this video helps you if you do this kit, gives you a little bit of insight on how to do it. If you have any questions, you can always message me and I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have. I do have that little problem with the Z probe you saw earlier. For some reason with the Masuter Pro, the old connection doesn't match up with the new control box. It's that new style that has that that circle that plugs in with the silver screw, where the old FoxAlien Masuter Pro has that little white plug and it just plugs right into the control box directly, and this doesn't match up. So, and the kit doesn't come with a new one. It's just basically nothing. So if you only have the Masuter Pro, luckily I had a, you know, the Masuter 3S that it already had that Z probe. I was lucky enough to already have that. But if you're just an owner of the Masuter Pro, you won't have that connection and you won't be able to use a Z probe until you get that upgrade, which is kind of disappointing in a way. I will say that's a little bit of a bummer. The little trick that I did with connecting the spindle works perfect. So I will go ahead and probably rewire that a little bit and make sure that that's put away. The Nema motors, awesome. Honestly, I'm so happy that I got this kit because it is a much better upgrade, and the Z height is substantially bigger. I mean, it literally added an inch and a half of Z height into this. It's fantastic. I mean, honestly, that was one of my big problems that I had with the Masuter Pro, is the height of this. But just adding these rails and these little corner pieces right here, adding those in, gave that inch and a half extra that you can put underneath. Now you have to adjust your spindle accordingly. So if you have a thinner piece, you want to drop your spindle down a little bit. What I like to do is take my Z, drop it all the way down till it hits a limit switch while this is in the off position, and then raise it up a little bit and then drop my spindle so that it's just touching this spoil board. That way I know that once it hits that limit switch, it won't go through the spoil board. It'll basically stop, but it will be low enough that it'll go through the piece that you have on here. And I do recommend that you put a secondary spoil board so you don't ruin these right here, because they are a little bit of a pain in the butt to replace. If you have to make them or if you have to order them, they're very expensive. So all in all, super happy with this kit. Again, thanks guys for sticking around this long. If you have, I really appreciate it. Go down in the description, check out some links. I have some really awesome stuff down below. I have some FoxAlien affiliates. I have some Amazon affiliate links down there that if you're interested in purchasing any of these machines that I have them in the description down below. And they are an affiliate link, so I do get a little bit of kickback, which is pretty awesome. That's how I make a little bit of money extra on YouTube. But check out that cut. It worked out perfect. Perfect circle. I do love this. This is actually pretty awesome. I'm super happy. And I do like the fact now that that controller is not mounted in the front. That was one of my other hates about the Masuter Pro, is that controller box was mounted here, and it really hindered putting any pieces of material through, because you had to kind of like put it under and down, and it was just a real pain in the butt. Now you could just get it and just slide it in and you're good to go. I don't know. This is pretty awesome. I'm super happy that I got this machine, but I do have some other cool videos coming up. I have some other machines that we're going to be testing out, putting together, doing some reviews on. We have that coming up, so make sure if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, go down below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button. That way you get notified of all of my newest videos, and make sure if you haven't liked this video, go ahead and give it a like, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm and all that cool stuff. So, all right, guys, that is it for me. Until that next video, make sure y'all do one thing, stay awesome. We'll see you on the next one.